Hi, my name is Nik Cook. I'm one of the psychology team with the Optimal Health Clinic. One of the key areas we work with is thought and thought patterns. So I thought it'd be quite useful to go through some of the common thought patterns that are associated with fatigue-related conditions. Unhelpful and energy costly and stress-causing thought patterns feed into the maladaptive stress response and can prevent us from being in a healing state. This is because, as far as the primitive animal areas of our brains are concerned, they can't tell the difference between a thought pattern of, I'm never going to get better. Fatigue-related conditions are accompanied with many such thought patterns due to the uncertainties surrounding diagnosis, treatment, and the recovery pathway. When my wife was on her recovery journey, I badly broke my leg, and although painful, frustrating, and inconvenient, I knew that I'd be in a cast for a certain number of weeks, and then in a brace, and then rehabbing. My recovery was tangibly charted out for me. With fatigue-related conditions, there is none of this certainty. The first key step in doing something about lifting this maladaptive stress response and spending time in a healing, non-stress state is becoming aware of the unhelpful, energy costly, and stress-causing thought patterns you may be running. If you can see it, you don't have to be it. So first is mental tennis. This is often around decisions when we can't decide the best thing to do. So you may wake up in the morning. I feel terrible. Maybe I should go back to bed. But I always feel terrible when I spend too much time in bed. Maybe I should just push through it. But then I'd probably feel even worse. So there's just a constant going back and forwards, back and forwards. Next is snowball thinking. This is when something starts small, but builds and builds until it becomes bigger and takes over. How do I feel this morning? My head hurts. Why does my head always hurt? I'm sick of this. What if I never get better? So we've gone from noticing a symptom to I'm never going to get better. Next is our inner critic. This is when we give ourselves a hard time. Shoulda, woulda, couldas. Compare ourselves to others. Worry about what other people think. Or thoughts around not being good enough. I really should be getting better faster than this. What are my friends saying and thinking about me as I always turn down invites to go out? Next is Windows ME CFS, or iOS if you're a Mac user. This is a protective pattern of planning and worst case scenario thinking around activity and doing. It is centered on a fear of avoiding dips and crashes or worsening of symptoms. This can be helpful at certain times, but can also become energy costly, stress-causing and unhelpful. It can often be very limiting, especially during the later stages of recovery. So you might be sat at home on the sofa of an evening, watching a documentary on the Great Barrier Reef, and a thought pops into your head of, it'd be great to go to Australia. I'd love to go and see the Great Barrier Reef. But how would I cope with the flight? Would I be able to get the food I needed when I was out there? What if I had a relapse? What if I got stuck there? And it's not debating whether this is right or wrong. The point is, you were sat on the sofa relaxing and have now managed to put yourself into a fight or flight mode. Next is mind blending. This is where the mind is whizzing around like a food blender, or a puppy charging around a room. Mind blending isn't so much about the actual thoughts. It can often be any or all the above categories we've talked about. It's about the speed we're thinking them. They're just coming, going, coming, going. Next, thought patterns associated with the helper subtype, where we're putting other people's needs ahead of our own. There's often some blurring or overlap with some of the inner critic thought patterns too. What will they think of me? If I don't do it, who will? I can't let them down. I should be doing more for my children. And then we have thought patterns associated with the achiever subtype and the perfectionist subtype that tend to be around getting things right, being good enough, living up to expectations and reputations. And yes, there's more overlap with the inner critic. If I don't read and research everything about my illness, I'll never get better. I'm failing at this. I should be doing better. I have to do X, Y, or Z. So maybe start keeping a thought diary. Note down what the thoughts are, when they tend to occur, and what category they may fall into. There may well be a lot of them in terms of volume, but you'll soon start to see patterns, and there tend to be variations on a few themes, and you can then start to do something about them. For more information, check out other videos on this channel or go to theoptimumhealthclinic.com.